All right, so you're getting ready for this metal product quality control inspector interview,
Yeah.
and you want to make sure you're totally prepped. We've got a bunch of resources from RoleCatcher here,
Yeah, we're going to break them down.
so you can walk into that interview feeling confident and ready to go.
Like, you got this.
First things first.
Okay.
What does a metal product quality control inspector even do?
Yeah, good question.
RoleCatcher lays it out pretty clearly.
They do.
It's about making sure those metal products
Right.
are meeting all the required standards.
Yeah, basically you're examining all these materials at different points in production, conducting tests,
Oh, wow.
using all this specialized equipment,
Right.
basically just making sure
Okay.
that not even the tiniest little imperfections
Wow.
slip through the cracks.
So like a really detail-oriented person then?
You got it. It's a blend of like Hawkeye observation
Right.
and hands-on problem solving.
So that attention to detail,
Yeah.
that's got to come up in those interview questions.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be huge.
Okay.
And you know what? Let's just jump right into those sample questions from RoleCatcher. They've
Yeah.
got 10
10 questions.
that are super common in these interviews, and we'll break down how to approach each one.
I like it.
What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so number 1, the classic opener. Describe your experience with metal product quality control.
Okay, so it seems simple enough,
Right.
but I'm guessing there's more to it than just like listing off your past jobs.
Oh, there's so much more to it. They want to know
Okay.
how deeply you understand this stuff, not just a timeline of where you've worked.
Gotcha.
This is your chance to show them how your experience really fits with this specific job.
So like make a strong first impression with this answer.
Exactly.
How do we do that?
I gotta think about some concrete examples that show off your skills.
Okay.
So like, what kinds of metal products have you worked with? What inspection methods did you use?
Yeah, what were some tough challenges you had to deal with?
Ooh, good one.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you overcome them?
So it's not just saying I was responsible for quality control.
No.
It's saying like, I implemented this new inspection procedure
Exactly.
that cut down on defects by 15%.
That's it. Results, baby.
They want to see those results.
Yeah, quantify your accomplishments whenever you can.
Okay.
And be ready for them to dig a little deeper. They might ask you to talk more about a specific project or go into more detail about a challenge you mentioned.
That makes sense.
So.
Okay, so how does RoleCatcher's AI come in handy here?
Oh, this is where it gets good. So their AI can actually analyze job descriptions
Okay.
to figure out exactly what skills those employers are looking for.
So you can like tailor your answers
Yeah.
to the specific job.
Exactly. It's like having a cheat sheet personalized just for you for each interview.
Ooh, I like it.
Right.
Okay, so question number 2.
Okay, number 2. How do you ensure that metal products meet industry standards?
Okay, so this is about proving, the rules of the game,
Yes.
not just going through the motions.
100%. So when you answer this one, you want to walk them through your whole process.
All right.
Talk about reviewing blueprints and specifications, visual inspections,
Okay.
using tools like calipers and micrometers,
Wow.
and performing those tests like ultrasonic or magnetic particle inspection.
Right.
And make sure you're documenting everything super carefully.
Document.
Yeah.
Okay, and it probably doesn't hurt to mention any certifications you have,
Oh, for sure.
like from the American Society for Quality.
Yeah, that'll add a lot of weight to your answer.
Definitely.
Certifications show you're serious about always learning and improving.
Okay.
And of course, be ready for those follow-up questions.
Like what?
They might ask things like, what are the most critical standards for this specific type of metal product? Or how do you stay updated on changes and regulations?
Okay, good to be prepared for that.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, question number 3. Describe a time when you identified a quality issue with a metal product.
Ooh, yeah.
This one feels like they want a story.
They totally do. They want to see how you handle those real-world situations.
Right.
Not just the theory.
Yeah.
Pick an example that shows off your analytical and problem-solving skills.
What kind of story should we be thinking about here?
So think about a time you noticed like a recurring defect in a batch of parts.
Yeah.
And walk them through how you figured out the root cause.
So maybe like examining production records.
Yeah.
Or working with the manufacturing team.
Exactly.
Or doing more tests.
Exactly. And then, of course, how you came up with a solution
Right.
to stop it from happening again.
To make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, show them you can take initiative and make a real impact. And be ready for them to ask, what was the most challenging part of this situation? Or how did you get everyone on board with your solution? They want to see those people skills too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so question number 4. How do you prioritize your workload when inspecting metal products?
Oh yeah, time management. It's huge in any job, especially when you're dealing with this level of precision and deadlines.
Absolutely.
You gotta show them you can stay organized and focused,
Right.
even under pressure.
Right.
So explain your methods,
Oh,
whether it's a to-do list, a scheduling app, or a specific workflow you use.
so how do you decide what's urgent and important,
Yeah,
and how do you manage your time to get it all done?
exactly. So for instance, you could say, I always prioritize inspections that are critical to safety or have really tight deadlines.
Okay.
I also make sure to check in with the production team about any changes in schedules or priorities.
Well, that's a good one. Keep everyone in the loop.
Communication is key.
Okay.
And they might follow up with, describe a time when you had to juggle multiple priorities.
Oh.
How did you handle it? Or what strategies do you use to stay on track when unexpected problems come up?
Good to be prepared for that. Okay, so question number 5. How do you communicate quality issues to production staff?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, this is about clear and respectful communication, right?
Absolutely. It's not about pointing fingers. It's about working together to find solutions.
So how do we get that collaborative vibe across in our answer?
Emphasize your commitment to clear communication.
Okay.
Talk about how you carefully document all your findings
Yeah.
using really concise language,
Uh-huh.
and how you present those findings to the production team in a way that focuses on solutions.
So, for example, I could say, when I find a quality issue, I document it really thoroughly,
Yeah.
including photos or videos if I need to, and then I meet with the production staff to discuss the issue.
Good.
Explaining the potential impact and suggesting possible solutions, I always make sure to keep the conversation collaborative and respectful,
Perfect.
with a focus on working together to solve the problem.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
They might ask you to describe a time you had to give tough feedback to a colleague. How did you handle it? Or what strategies do you use to make sure your message is understood?
Yeah, okay, so before we move on to the next question, I want to circle back to RoleCatcher's AI. Remember how we talked about how it can help you prepare for these specific questions?
Oh, yeah.
It's not just general tips, it can get super specific, right?
It can get really granular. It's amazing how much it can analyze.
Wow.
It can even give you feedback on practice answers and suggest improvements to your content structure and delivery.
That's wild. That's like having a virtual interview coach.
It really is. And the best part is RoleCatcher offers a free trial, so you can try it out for yourself.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right.
Okay, so back to the questions.
All right, let's do it.
Number 6, describe your experience with non-destructive testing techniques.
Okay, now we're getting technical. This
Yeah.
is where they want to see the tools of the trade.
Okay.
Non-destructive testing, or NDT, is super important in this industry.
So what are some of those key NDT techniques that we should be ready to talk about?
So there's visual inspection, liquid penetrant testing, magnetic particle testing, ultrasonic testing, and radiographic testing, just to name a few.
Okay, so a lot of acronyms.
It's a lot of acronyms.
But the key is to show that you know how these techniques work and when to use them.
Exactly. So, for example, if they ask about ultrasonic testing,
Uh-huh.
you could explain. Ultrasonic testing uses high-frequency sound waves to find flaws inside metal parts.
Okay.
It's really good at finding cracks or defects that you can't see with just your eyes.
Okay. And we should have some examples ready to go
Oh, for sure.
of how we've used NDT to solve real problems.
Yeah, and be ready to share any certifications you have in specific NDT methods.
All right, good to know. Okay, question number 7. How do you ensure that metal products are safe for use?
Oh, this is a big one.
This is a big one. Yeah, this
Wow.
goes beyond just meeting the specifications.
Right.
It's about making sure what you're inspecting isn't going to cause any harm down the line.
Exactly. It's all about understanding those potential risks. So they're checking to see how aware you are of safety protocols and regulations.
Okay.
So when you're answering this one, you really want to emphasize your commitment to following those regulations and industry standards. Talk about how you identify potential hazards and put those controls in place.
So, for example,
You could say, I always do a thorough risk assessment before I start any inspection,
okay,
identifying any potential hazards, and then I take the right safety measures, like wearing the right protective gear
right.
or using safety guards on the machinery.
And mention any safety training we have,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
like OSHA certification.
Yeah, they might also ask you to describe a time when you had to stop production
Oh, wow.
because of a safety concern. Be prepared to explain all the steps you took.
Okay.
And they might also ask how you would handle a situation where a colleague isn't following safety protocols.
It's about showing you're putting safety first.
Safety first, always.
Okay, so question number 8.
Wow.
How do you ensure that metal products are free from contamination?
This is all about preventing those defects that could mess up the final product.
Yeah, we don't want that.
No way. So they're looking for your understanding of cleanliness standards, material handling, and preventing any foreign objects from getting into the process.
What are some of those key points we want to make sure to hit in the answer?
You want to talk about your familiarity with clean room protocols,
Okay.
proper storage and handling of all the materials, and using the right cleaning agents and techniques.
Okay.
Explain how you would inspect work areas and equipment for any signs of contamination,
Right.
and how you would enforce those procedures to prevent cross-contamination.
So, for instance, I could say, I always make sure my work area is clean and free of debris before I start any inspection.
Perfect.
I wear gloves and use clean tools to avoid contaminating the products.
Mm-hmm.
And if I spot any signs of contamination, I immediately report it to my supervisor and take steps to isolate those materials.
That's a great example.
Okay.
You can also mention your knowledge of relevant industry standards,
Oh, like what?
like ISO 9001, which covers quality management systems, including contamination control.
Oh, okay, cool.
And be ready for them to ask about the most common sources of contamination,
Right.
or to describe a time when you implemented a new contamination control measure.
Always good to have a story ready to go.
Exactly. Now, before we move on to the next question, I want to touch on RoleCatcher's AI again.
Okay.
Remember how we were talking about how it can analyze those job descriptions to pinpoint the exact skills employers are looking for?
Yeah, it's like having a secret decoder ring for those job postings.
It really is.
Yeah.
Well, it can also help you with the technical jargon
Oh, okay.
and all that industry-specific terminology.
So it's like having a glossary of terms at your fingertips.
Exactly. So if you see a word you're not sure about, RoleCatcher's AI can help you understand it and even suggest different ways to explain it.
Oh, that's super useful, especially when you're dealing with those technical questions.
Right.
Okay, now for question number 9, describe your experience with metallography.
Oh, here we go.
Metallography. That sounds intense.
It is.
What is metallography?
It's basically studying metams at a microscopic level.
Whoa.
So they're really testing your knowledge of how the structure of a metal affects its properties and performance.
Okay, how detailed do we need to get here?
It depends on the job. If it's a core requirement, then you need to be ready to dive into the specifics.
Okay.
Talk about preparing samples using techniques like cutting, grinding, and polishing.
Okay.
Discuss your experience with different microscopes and how you analyze the microstructures
Wow.
to identify phases, grain size, and other features.
So if I've done things like determining the hardness or toughness of a metal, this is the time to mention it.
Exactly. But if it's not as crucial to the role, you can give a more general overview.
So I could say something like, I have a basic understanding of metallography and its importance in quality control.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with microstructure analysis and using microscopes to find potential defects.
Exactly. Now, they might follow up with, describe a time you used metallography to solve a quality issue. Or what are the limitations of metallographic analysis? They want to see that you understand both the uses and limitations of this technique.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, on to the final question in this set.
All right, number 10.
How do you ensure that metal products meet customer requirements?
This one is all about remembering that quality control is ultimately about happy customers.
Right.
So how do you show them you're customer focused?
Okay.
You need to highlight how you understand those requirements.
Okay.
Whether it's through specifications drawings or direct conversations.
Okay.
And then you explain how you work those requirements into your inspections.
Right.
And how you make sure the final product checks all those boxes.
So for example, I could say, I always start by reviewing the customer specifications and any other documents really carefully
Good.
to make sure I understand what they need. Then I use that information to create my inspection checklist,
Yeah.
making sure I check each item against those expectations.
Yeah.
And then before the product goes out, I do one final inspection
Okay.
to make sure it meets all the requirements and is top quality.
That's perfect. You can also mention any experience you have working directly with customers to resolve issues or clarify their needs.
Oh yeah, good point.
And be prepared to talk about times you went above and beyond for a customer, or how you handled a situation where what the customer wanted clashed with industry standards.
Yeah. Finding that balance.
Exactly. It's all about keeping the customer happy while still sticking to the rules.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground with these 10 questions.
We have. But there's more to come. In the next part of our deep dive, we're going to shift gears
Okay.
and take a look at the bigger picture of this career path.
It's good.
We'll talk about the pros and cons career progression and how technology is changing the future of quality control.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
Stay tuned. Welcome back. We just finished going through those 10 interview questions.
Yeah, those are some tough ones.
I bet you're feeling more confident about tackling them now.
Yeah, definitely. But before I go practice those answers in the mirror,
Right.
I think we should take a step back and look at the bigger picture of this whole career.
I totally agree. It's important to know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
And RoleCatcher has some good insights into the pros and cons of being a metal product quality control inspector.
Okay, so let's start with the good stuff.
Okay.
What are the perks of this job?
Well, RoleCatcher says a stable job market is a big one.
That's great.
This sector is usually less affected by automation than others, which is a big deal when you're thinking long-term.
Job security is super important.
It is. So what else? Well, there are good opportunities to move up the ladder,
Okay.
which we'll talk about more later. You also get to work with your hands.
I like that.
You have a variety of tasks, and the pay is decent.
So if you're someone who likes to be hands-on, has an eye for detail,
Yeah.
and likes a structured work environment, this could be a good fit.
Definitely. And remember how we talked about the manufacturing industry always evolving?
Yeah,
There's always something new to learn.
that's cool. It keeps things interesting.
It does. But let's be real, no job is perfect.
Right.
What about the downsides? RoleCatcher mentions a few.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
While it can be physically demanding,
Yeah, that's true.
lots of repetitive tasks and potential exposure to hazardous materials.
Okay, those are definitely things to think about.
And there's that pressure of deadlines and needing to be super focused on details all the time.
Sounds like you need a certain personality to thrive in this kind of job.
You do. If you're someone who gets bored easily or hates routine
Yeah,
or can't stand the thought of working in a factory,
right.
then this might not be the right choice.
So know yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you've weighed the pros and cons
Okay.
and you're still interested.
Mm-hmm.
What does moving up the ladder look like in this field?
RoleCatcher lays out a pretty clear path. You usually start as an entry-level inspector,
Okay.
then move up to junior inspector, then senior inspector,
Wow.
and eventually you could become a lead inspector.
So more responsibility and more money as you go up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And each level has its own set of tasks and expectations.
Okay.
So an entry-level inspector might focus on basic inspections
Right.
and helping out the more experienced inspectors.
Okay, good.
But a lead inspector could be in charge of a whole team,
Wow.
developing those quality control processes and even working with other departments.
So how do you climb that ladder?
Yeah, how do you move up?
What does it take?
RoleCatcher really stresses the importance of always learning and improving your skills.
Okay.
So that could mean taking courses on quality control and metalworking, staying up to date on industry trends, and getting those certifications to show you're serious.
Certifications are like gold stars in this field, right?
They really are. They show employers that you're committed to your career.
Okay, so what are some of the key certifications employers look for?
Well, we talked about the American Society for Quality, or ASQ.
Right.
They offer a bunch of different certifications, but one that's really relevant is the Certified Quality Inspector, or CQI.
Okay, so having that CQI on your resume would be a good thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It shows you really understand those quality control principles.
Okay.
Other good ones are certifications related to specific NDT methods like ultrasonic testing or magnetic particle inspection.
So investing in those certifications could be worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, once you've got those skills and certifications,
Yeah.
you need to find those job openings and make yourself look good.
Right.
That's where RoleCatcher's AI tools are super helpful. Remember how we talked about how it can break down those job descriptions?
Yeah, it's like having a secret decoder.
It is. Their AI can analyze the description and figure out exactly what skills and keywords they're looking for.
So instead of sending out a generic resume,
No.
you can tailor it to each specific job.
Exactly. Highlight the stuff that's most relevant.
Okay.
It's all about standing out from the crowd.
Yeah.
And remember, you can use the AI for feedback on your cover letter
Oh, yeah.
and even your LinkedIn profile.
So it's like having a personal branding expert.
It is. And like we said before, you can use it to practice answering those interview questions.
Right.
Get some feedback and polish up your communication style.
It's like having a whole team of career coaches.
It really is.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap this up, I want to mention something that RoleCatcher doesn't explicitly talk about.
Okay, what's that?
The future of this field.
Oh, yeah.
Manufacturing is changing so fast with automation and all these digital technologies.
Yeah.
What do you think that means for a metal product quality control inspector?
Yeah. Are human inspectors going to become obsolete?
That's the big question.
It is.
Everyone wants to know.
Yeah.
It's clear that technology is going to play a bigger and bigger role in quality control.
Uh-huh.
We're talking advanced sensors,
Right.
machine vision systems, and all kinds of data analytics that could really change how inspections are done.
But you don't think human inspectors will disappear?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Because even though some tasks might get automated, there will always be a need for human expertise and critical thinking. Those inspectors will need to adapt to working with those technologies, interpreting all that data, troubleshooting those complex issues, and ultimately making sure those products meet the highest standards.
So it's not just about spotting a defect anymore.
Right.
It's about understanding why it's there, analyzing the data, and making good decisions.
You got it. We might see this role turn into something more like a quality assurance specialist, combining that technical knowledge with problem-solving and analytical skills.
So being adaptable and willing to learn are essential.
Absolutely. The future belongs to those who can keep up with all those changes.
Right.
And apply their skills in this crazy industry.
Okay. So much to think about.
I know, right?
In this part, we went beyond those interview questions.
Yeah.
We looked at the good and bad of this career, how to move up, and how AI can help you find a job.
We did.
And we even talked about what the future might look like.
We did. In the last part, we'll wrap things up.
Okay.
We'll revisit some key takeaways and talk about how to really shine in those interviews.
Sounds good.
Stay with us.
Okay. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've talked about so much of this episode.
I know, right?
From the details of inspecting those metal products to, like, the big trends that are shaping the future of this whole industry.
Totally. We've covered what those hiring managers really want.
Right.
How to handle those tricky interview questions. And even how AI can be like your secret weapon in the job search.
But before we send you off to crush that metal product quality control inspector interview,
good luck.
Let's recap some of the key takeaways.
Yeah, good idea.
What are the things we absolutely can't forget?
Okay, well, first things first. You can't underestimate how important attention to detail is in this job.
Right. It's like everything.
It's everything.
It's not just about finding those little flaws.
No.
It's like a whole mindset of precision.
Yeah.
That affects how you analyze blueprints, how you document your findings.
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
And speaking of problem solving.
Oh, yeah. Another big one.
That's huge. Employers want to know, you can find the root of a problem?
Totally.
Not just put on a Band-Aid?
They want to see you can analyze, figure out what's going on, and come up with a solution that lasts.
Right. A permanent fix.
Yeah.
And that ties into communication.
Oh, for sure.
You got to be able to explain those issues clearly to your colleagues, your supervisors, even customers.
Absolutely.
Both talking and writing.
It's about building that culture of quality, working as a team to get the best results.
And that brings us to staying curious.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Sure.
The manufacturing world is constantly evolving.
You never stops.
So you got to be adaptable.
Yeah.
Embrace those new technologies and never stop learning.
Always learning.
Like we talked about, AI and automation are already changing the industry.
Big time.
So being okay with those changes and always developing your skills is super important.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay. So when it comes to actually getting that job, preparation is key.
Yeah.
Research the company, understand their products and processes, and of course, practice those interview questions.
Definitely.
And remember, RoleCatcher can give you a real advantage.
Oh, yeah, they can.
Their AI tools can help you tweak that resume, analyze those job descriptions to see what they're really looking for.
Right.
And even give you feedback on your answers.
It's like having your own personal coach.
It is.
Yeah.
So going into that interview, remember to highlight that attention to detail.
Yeah.
Your problem-solving skills, strong communication, and your commitment to always learning.
And don't forget to show some personality.
Oh, yeah.
Let them see your passion for quality.
Let them know you're excited to be there. Okay, so one final thought as you start this career path, as technology keeps advancing.
It's crazy how fast it's moving.
What skills do you think will be most important for these inspectors in the future?
Ooh, good question.
What will make you stand out?
Yeah, what will set you apart?
That's something for you to think about as you move forward.
Definitely.
We hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and confidence to rock that interview and have a successful career.
Best of luck.
And that's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive into a new topic.